Good morning, everybody. Well, it's morning for me. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do some that YouTube has censored. So I don't know if they censor my words that I say or what I type. So I'm gonna try to talk quick because I have to have this under 10 minutes. And okay, let's just get on it. Okay, so this was December 7th. I had a dream that I was on some sort of transporter. It was open skied. I was going down and I saw this huge eye as I'm going. It was like on a TV screen and it was outlined in blue and it blinked. And so I thought in my head, like, that's like the biggest TV. Like I knew it was some sort of like hologram or TV screen or something. And so I was gonna take a picture of it because I was like, that is crazy, like that is so out there. And it was light blue outside and then blue inside. And then it was like a live eye and it like looked and blinked. And so I had my phone out and I was on this transporter and then I see as I'm coming, because everything's passing, you know how that is. Like it's like an open subway system is kind of what I was on. And I saw another one and it was a bigger eye and it had pictures of celebrities and words underneath it and it scrolled, well actually it scrolled downward. Well, like the words scrolled down and new pictures came. So it was scrolling, but the eye stayed the same. So it was a big blue eye, light blue, and then a blue center. It had I thought it was advertising because that's what in my head when I saw it, you know, I've never been to New York, but I've seen like the big huge screens where it's like advertising, and so I was kind of thinking like that in my head. And let me see here. And I see it and I'm looking at it and I see the words Rapture on it. And I'm like, what? That's crazy. Why would it have Rapture on it? So I take out my phone to start to take pictures of it so I can like enlarge them on my screen in my dream. And because I wanted to read what it said. And so I grabbed my camera, I start clicking, but it had already scrolled. So I didn't take any pictures of the word that said Rapture. But I did recognize the celebrities. And so as I took the pictures and I'm looking on my phone and I'm trying to enlarge them, I see pictures of celebrities promoting this agenda of globalization or whatever the word you want to use. The world is one. And somehow I knew that everybody was filled with the enemy, even the children. There was a little girl off Ramona and Beezus. I've seen that movie like one time, but there's this little girl off Ramona and Beezus, and even her, like this cute little sweet thing, was controlled and by the enemy. And so it was like this weird realization that they're all being used. And so they knew the rapture was coming and they were trying to prepare for it. So these are the things that I knew in my dream. And the main thing was they were trying to prepare for it and use it to their favor and advantage. It was like they were waiting for it. So when I had that dream, I'm like, that is the weirdest thing. I think many Christians don't even believe in the rapture. I don't know when the rapture is going to happen. It can happen in the beginning, the middle, the end. We don't know these things. It's people's opinions. So one of the things that I wanted to like discuss is, you know, this whole climate chaos thing. A year ago, was it a year ago, a year and a half ago, the Prime Minister says, you know, we have 500 days to avoid climate chaos. And it makes everybody wondering what climate chaos is, because how can you avoid it? And did we avoid it? Or is it just starting? So what's avoided? So anyways, so I'm thinking and I'm like, if the enemy, see, I've never thought before that the enemy knows what time it is. Like not what time it is, like it's, you know, 8:30, but time it is like, no, he doesn't know what time it is. Like he must not know when the Antichrist comes. So then he must have somebody ready in every era, or, you know, he must not know the seasons and whatever. And then I have this dream, and maybe it's this realization that no, the enemy is very aware of what's happening because he can see in the heavens things we cannot see, and he's correlating things probably more than we are. We have a hard time as Christians believing like the end is coming, and so this, maybe what the Lord was trying to show me is that, the enemy knows, and he's getting his people ready. I need to get my people ready. Our Christians have a hard time believing that the end is coming and that we need to be prepared spiritually, and yet the enemy is going to have us all, his people all lined up. And so I was like praying. I'm like, Lord, what is? And this is just my idea. This isn't like, the Lord revealed this to me or anything, but I'm just thinking about these things, and it's like, okay, if they know the rapture's coming and they were trying to prepare for it and use it to their advantage. I even think that they had a movie out where the rapture happens. Like, it's weird because it's like a horror movie. So it's like the enemy, I don't know. It's like maybe he does know what time it is. Maybe he is very aware of his timeline that he's going to be allotted to do certain things. And so I was thinking, well, what is climate chaos? Could it be things like there was a great earthquake and the sun became a sackcloth and the moon became his blood? And the stars of the sky fell to the earth as fig trees shed its winter fruit shaken by a gale. And the sky vanished and rolled up like a scroll, and every mountain and island was removed from its place. And then I'm going to skip to a couple. Could climate chaos actually be there followed an earthquake with pearls and thunders and rumblings? And following was hail, fire mixed with blood, and these were thrown upon the earth, and a third of the earth was burned up, and a third of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up, and a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into a sea, and the third of the sea became blood, and a third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. And a great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch, and it fell on a third of the rivers and spring waters, and the name of the star is Wormwood, and the thirds of the water became wormwood, and many people died. And the sun was struck, and a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that the third of their light may be darkened, and a third of the day kept on shining, likewise a third of the night. That sounds like climate chaos to me. Like, I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, and can you avoid it? I guess the enemy all along, my husband said something so profound the other day. He says, well, the enemy wants to stop one prophecy, because if he can stop one prophecy, that means he can stop what's at the end of the book. So if a little piece of God's truth is false, then the end of the enemy's story, Satan's story, could be false, which means he doesn't have to burn in the lake of fire forever. So he's trying his hardest to stop any prophecies. It's not that he could actually stop it. This was my husband's idea or thought process. It's not that he actually thought he could stop Jesus from being born or actually kill him, but if he could stop one prophecy, if he could just stop that Jesus didn't do this, or Jesus didn't do that, or Jesus wasn't born here, or Jesus didn't live there. If he could stop one prophecy, even if it was a minor prophecy, then this could be altered. Okay, so this whole idea isn't necessarily maybe about what we humans would think, that is, it has to be at a certain place, a certain thing in a certain timing, because it probably does by the hand of God. But maybe the enemy does know, and maybe the whole idea of avoiding climate chaos could be avoiding the end of this, the wrath of Yahweh. There's so many movies right now that are like avoiding the apocalypse. Like there's the apocalypse, sometimes I don't say that. The Apocalypse X-Men, like they're trying to avoid the apocalypse. Transformers, The Fallen, the last one, it was like they're avoiding Judgment Day. Like that's what the movie's about. It's like there's this constant theme of avoiding this judgment. And so maybe with, quote, the help of the humans, we want to have our planet to ourselves. We don't need God. I'm not saying I think that. I'm saying they think that. And that somehow this enemy can thwart the plans of God and just be like, oh, okay, I guess you win. You can have your little planet. I don't know, but it's just this thought process that the enemy maybe does know what, and maybe he is, and I thought this was interesting, the idea in my head during the dream that they knew the rapture was coming and they were trying to prepare for it and use it to their advantage. Now, I don't know when the rapture is going to take place. Maybe even they don't know. I don't know these things. But the idea of it is maybe they know what time it is, and therefore the NASA just came out and they just created what did they call it? Was it the Apocalypse? They just created it. I'm sorry, I'm going to ruin the name of it. Or no, they called it the Armageddon class to save themselves from asteroids. Like, do they know what's going on? Do they know? And if they do know and we don't know, how silly is that? That's so silly. Anyways, okay, well, that was just my thought. And I just wanted to put it out there that maybe they have some sort of clue, and maybe the enemy does know when he's allowed to come to the earth. And so we have to just be wise in our looking at things that are coming upon the earth and not be foolish. And it's amazing to me that I struggle with thinking certain things, and then like they're gonna have movies about it and they're totally fine with thinking certain things. So anyways, that's just food for thought. It's just a thought. Okay, let's pray, because I got to wrap this up. Dear Jesus, please be with us. Please give us your wisdom, your power, your grace. Please give us authority that we have in your name, Lord, so that we can stand firm for you, that we can reject sin and look to you for all your wisdom. Lord, I ask that you would just reveal truth to your people, and that you would help us to obey you in every circumstance. We love you, Yahweh. Amen. Okay, that's it. Bye.